Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name is Austin. Death of a Unicorn stars Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. When a man and his daughter accidentally hit and kill a unicorn with their car, his boss tries to exploit the creature's miraculous curative properties with horrific results. Man, I hope that Bambi horror film is remotely close as fun at this movie was. God, I can't believe I can't believe I'm going to see three movies of in that Winnie the Pooh horror universe this year. Gosh, I wasn't really sure before going into this movie on what to expect because I wasn't really, all that hype for this movie. The trailers weren't really that interesting. The posters weren't great. The only really good poster was the one with the dead unicorn on it, covered up with a blanket. That's the only good poster that they have when it comes to the marketing. Everything else was kind of meh. But what's really the pull-in for me for this movie was Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, even Will Poehler. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. They were kind of the only reason why I was kind of really only wanting to watch this movie. Everything that was being presented from this movie, from its marketing, wasn't really pulling me in that much. And walking out of it, they were actually the best part about the whole entire movie. Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega are father and daughter in this film, and they have this great chemistry between one another with this tropey backstory that is overused. But now, because something is overused, doesn't mean it's bad. This film is kind of like a mixed bag when it comes to their story. Even though it's the best part about the whole entire film, they don't scratch the surface enough with their traumatic backstory that they have in the film, and I wish that they did a little bit more with it. Will Poehler, who plays one of the rich sons in the family of this film, who is really funny. He's like the best comedic part about this whole entire movie. Like, he does a great job in this role and has great comedic timing. You of course also have Richard E. Grant, who wasn't bad in the film, but he just kind of was just there for most of the film, as well as Téa Leoni. I think that's how you say her name. The mom from Jurassic Park 3, who is actually less annoying in this film. She's not constantly screaming, Arak! Arak! And the little involvement that she has with this movie, even though she's throughout the whole entire movie, she was good in the film too. But again, like Richard, she hardly anything to do in the movie. It was just mostly really Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, and Will Poehler. Even the butler, who I can't remember the name of the actor, but he was like kind of in like these CW shows um, for the Arrowverse. He was even great in the film and has more to do than the two rich parents in the film. But with that being said, everyone does a great job in the movie, and it is really funny. And that's the thing about this movie. If you're going in to see it as a comedy, you're going to have a great time with this movie because this movie is really funny. Now, if you try to go in and see it as a horror film, you're probably not going to walk out very satisfied. This movie does clarify itself as a horror film. I would not clarify this movie as a horror film at all. There is not remotely any form of horror about this movie. The only thing that is slightly like kind of scary is involving this forest hunt scene of like hunting down the unicorn. That kind of resonates a little bit like Alien, where in the first Alien, you have Ripley with the scanner, which they also have a scanner of their own in this movie, where it's trying to that it's able to track an alien, or like in this movie, the unicorn. That's kind of like the scariest probably scene in the whole entire movie. But everything else is kind of like played for laughs, intentionally and not intentionally, because there's plenty of moments in this movie where people are laughing when it's supposed to be serious and scary, and it just wasn't really working. And the reason why I find this film not to really work as well as a horror film is mostly because you are constantly seeing the unicorn. They're the first second where you run into the unicorn after Paul Rudd hits it with a car, you're immediately shown it. It's always like in frame. They never really keep it in the shadows. They do, but at that point, it's like you already know what the unicorn looks like, so it's not really that scary to you because they've shown it plenty of times. Where it's just like the effect of the horror element of it is worn off, and the CGI on the unicorn is honestly not the greatest either. But when it is in the shadows, it does look great, and especially at night. Whenever it's during the day and they full on show you it, it doesn't look that great. And the backstory for the unicorn is kind of just hand waved, like, yeah, so this is what this means, but the way that they try to get to it is from Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd's backstory of from like one trip that they went on, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of convenient for the story that you guys are doing right now. And so there's moments where throughout the movie, certain things that characters do and way that the story plays out feels forced. Like Paul Rudd later on in the film makes a choice to basically face the unicorn when he doesn't have to, and that's like, I'm like, what are you doing? There's like a lot of moments throughout the film that feel forced, especially towards the end. I hate the ending of this movie. I really don't like it, but overall I did enjoy a lot of the comedy and the jokes, and the movie is very thrilling and does have good suspense building. It just doesn't know how to pay off the suspense very well. The characters like Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, you do feel their chemistry between one another, and you do care about this father and daughter dynamic. There's this like, tug of relationship being pulled throughout the film of Paul Rudd really wanting to please this rich family so then he can have a job and provide for his daughter. And actually also have the daughter in the film about having morals, so that those two tones conflict in one another in a good way. And I thought that works very well with throughout the movie. I'm gonna give Death of a Unicorn a B minus. Had a good time with it. Definitely not the perfect film, but if you go in watching this as a comedy, you're gonna have a great time with the film. But it definitely fails on being a horror film. I'm not going to call this as a horror film. It's more of a thriller to me. But I had enough fun with the movie that I can overlook some of the hiccups that the movie has. So highly recommend you guys check it out this weekend. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. And like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye guys.